before you take, a moment and say that's just identity politics in practice, let's listen to Kellyanne explain herself.
If I were giving the president advice right now, I would tell President Trump to pick a person of color. So that's Senator Rubio, Senator Scott. I know Byron Donalds is a favorite, the congressman, about 45 years old from the Naples area, Florida, on TV regularly, a big favorite in the House. And I tell you, the Trump World Insider favorite right now in President Trump's ear about him is Dr. Ben Carson, former world-renowned pediatric neurosurgeon and former Trump opponent in 2016 and then a member of the cabinet for all 4 years. Vivek Ramaswamy, very popular pick on social media. I don't think you take two significant outsiders, though, and make a ticket out of that. But Trump, this is Donald Trump. He'll keep us guessing, and his quote, short list will be very long.
Well, you're the one who suggested Mike Pence to him, and that helped him with evangelicals. So
that is true.
You could take your advice again. Kellyanne.
So, ladies and gentlemen, hope he takes your advice again is what Fox News says, as Kellyanne says it's going to be Ben Carson. Now, this is really interesting. Maybe Donald Trump is listening to Kellyanne because Donald Trump named Tim Scott potentially as a running mate, Kristi Noem as well in a recent interview on Fox. Trump reveals two criteria for running mates, name drops two Republicans, Tim Scott and Kristi Noem. Now, we've done polls of our audience. Not a lot of people like Tim Scott that much, but nonetheless, this is what Donald Trump is saying. Now, Ben Carson, on the other hand, has been very close to the vest when it comes to his conversations about being VP. Clearly, the two have talked about it. Really interesting stuff. Check out this answer on Fox News just a week ago.
One of the reasons President Trump is doing so well in the polls, has President Trump contacted you to be his VP?
I don't want to talk about what we've talked about, but we've talked about what can we do to save this country.
What can we do to save the country? Donald Trump says that his VP pick will be a name that we already know. It will be a consensus candidate. It will be somebody that we are familiar with. Ben Carson will be one of those people. Ben Carson is a very beloved individual. Before he came out as a Republican, Cuba Gooding Jr. was playing him in Hollywood movies about what a miraculous life he's had. He's the most accomplished neurosurgeon in world history. Ben Carson is an incredible story, and I would totally be fine with that as a VP. Ben Carson, again, being quite coy. We've talked about what we can do to save the country together. People are running with headlines like this. Could Ben Carson be Donald Trump's VP? And ladies and gentlemen, of course, Ben Carson himself is like, oh, we just want to save the country. So that's, of course, exactly what you would say if, well, you and Donald Trump were talking. A reminder, by the way, the two of them are great friends. Here's this interesting little moment from 2016 when Ben Carson didn't have his name called for the Republican debates. Remember, he was running for president, and Donald Trump's the only man who stood with him. So here's Ben Carson having to stand there, wait for his name to be called. They called Ted Cruz.
Florida Senator Marco Rubio.
So all the other candidates roll through. Donald Trump stands there with Ben, with dork Jeb.
Former Florida Governor Jeb Bush.
Do that stupid impression. So is this your ticket? Handsome looking ticket. Come on, man. Great looking ticket. Back in 2016, in the early debates, they refused to call Ben Carson's name. When Trump's name was called, instead of going out for the debate stage, Trump remained with Carson until his name was called and all the other candidates walked past. Trump stood with him. It's a sign of things to come. Well, we're not exactly sure. We do know this, that Kellyanne Conway definitely has Donald Trump's ear, and that Kellyanne Conway is giving a list of people who she believes should be vice president. She has, I think, good rationale. She is the person who suggested Mike Pence, by the way. Hold that in her favor or against her. I think it's a toss-up. But nonetheless, Kellyanne Conway is saying Ben Carson. He's the favorite. Listing other names, obviously, but Ben Carson is the favorite. Listing also Vivek Ramaswamy, who recently said that he's looking forward to debating Kamala Harris. I'll be sure to face off with her on it, Vivek says. Okay. Vivek is a favorite, of course, with my audience and with the polls that we've done internally, externally. Ladies and gentlemen, Kellyanne Conway, somebody who is certainly a political handicapping veteran, somebody who served in the Trump administration, and somebody who has advised him on one presidential pick, explaining her rationale on Fox News. Here's the full tape.
The most popular suggesting I'm hearing is that Mr. Trump do as Mr. Biden did 4 years earlier and, quote, pick a woman as his running mate. But Mr. Biden and the country suffer daily the consequences of embracing identity politics. Now, a lot of people think that,
yes,
woman against woman for vice president would be a great way for the president to offset that potential advantage the Democrats have and set up 2028, naturally, if he wins the presidency, to have the first woman president and it be a Republican.
Well, two things there, John. Like I said, all the women I've mentioned in the piece and beyond are very capable and would do a much better job than Biden or Harris, no question. But this pick a woman theory, I think is limited because Donald Trump in 2016, when I was his campaign manager, he beat the Queen Bee herself. Hillary Clinton was about to be the first woman president of the United States of America. And we beat her while a majority of the voters were women. Not unlike 8 years earlier when Senator Obama beat Mitt Romney, first African-American president, a majority of the voters were white. So this whole idea that people vote just according to their race or their gender or their socioeconomic status or their union household, I think Republicans and particularly conservatives need to stand athwart against that. And look, women, to their credit, they don't vote on their gender so much as their vision and their values. Women have comprised the majority of the electorate. Indeed, women in this country have been electing our president since 1964. And so we've had plenty of Republican presidents during that. If I were giving the president advice right now, I would tell President Trump to pick a person of color. So that's Senator Rubio, Senator Scott. I know Byron Donalds is a favorite, the congressman, about 45 years old from the Naples area, Florida, on TV regularly, a big favorite in the House. And I tell you, the Trump World Insider favorite right now in President Trump's ear about him is Dr. Ben Carson, former world-renowned pediatric neurosurgeon and former Trump opponent in 2016 and then a member of the cabinet for all 4 years. Vivek Ramaswamy, very popular pick on social media. I don't think you take two significant outsiders, though, and make a ticket out of that. But Trump, this is Donald Trump. He'll keep us guessing, and his quote, short list will be very long.
Well, you're the one who suggested Mike Pence to him, and that helped him with evangelicals. So
that is true.
If he takes your advice again.
See.